welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary podcast. This is your host, Scotty B. My next guest friends, I am very pleased to introduce an advocate for creatives, cosplayers, and doing the right thing. She has style, grace, and passion for every cosplay she creates. More than that, she's an amazingly talented artist, designer, and storyteller. She's shared and taught within the community to give back, just as she does as a member of the New York Avengers. Please welcome the funny, outspoken, and constantly creating digital artist, designer, creator, and cosplayer, Rebs De La Disco, to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. It's so great to connect with you, Rebs, and to be able to talk with you. I spoke with Jake in season 1. And I've talked with several of New York Avengers on the show, and I must say it has been a little bit of time. I've wanted to talk to you very much about all of your creative endeavors, everything that you do in cosplay, and just in general to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait.
Well, I do have my usual way to get started. With you as a guest is to go through and go on the Wayback Machine and talk about your origins in cosplay, and how you became Rebs De La Disco.
Okay. Cycling back to, baby Rebecca. I have loved dressing up my entire life. I've always loved Halloween. Every opportunity to dress up, I have taken it. Even like Spirit Day at school, I was always like, oh, I'm going to dress up for Spirit Day. You know, whatever I could, I did. And I have a background in theater, and my degree is in costume design. So for me, it has been, cosplay has sort of come out of that cosplay and theater realm, but also from, the art and everything like that too. So my first cosplay was at New York Comic-Con in, I want to say 2014, maybe. It was like, 2014. And I was Sailor Mercury. And I made the whole thing with very good help from a family friend. But it was a little janky. I didn't know how to cut wigs at that point. But we got through it and it was okay. And it had always sort of been, for cosplay for me, was like, I always envied people that like really did it. But I was just sort of like, I guess, a little more removed from that. But then New York Comic Con 2018, I dressed up as Faye Valentine and I just went to the convention. I didn't have anybody to go with, and I just went, and a wonderful community of people. I just met a great community. And from there, I got introduced to cosplayers getting coffee. I did something with them, met more cosplayers, and it just blossomed from there. So it's been
Aren't they? I very much enjoy cosplayers getting coffee. Such a good group, and the experience with them and just the content that they create. So very cool.
Yeah.
And yes, you're also a singer.
I am.
In addition to theatrical, and you're a trained theater. I mean, you have a professional background in theater in terms of your education, which is just amazing too.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a classically trained singer. I sing. Actually, my job right now is I'm a church cantor. So I sing masses, weddings, funerals, whatever. Need a singer? I'm there. I'm good. But I've sung weddings. I have sung professionally at other events, and music is just heart right here. Yes, my video's mirrored, but my heart right here. So it's very special to me, and it's a gift that I'm very happy to be able to give to people. It means a lot to me.
No, that's great, and very just an amazing thing too. Mentioning that you have done some, from the sound of it, very difficult music as you've gone along. And I do know I've been in music. I was a performance major once upon a time.
Oh, cool! That's amazing. I never knew.
That's where I started. I love theater, and I did a lot of theater in high school and jumped into it in college. And I was a performance major, vocal performance major to start with. Actually, my vocal coach was from New York. She had studied there and been an operatic singer in New York City. So,
That's so great.
A little tie-in, right?
I love it. So much in
Uh,
common. I'm here for it.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, so you, I mean, yeah, so it goes back a ways, and you really just enjoy being able to create and being part of the community. And speaking of that community and those people that you found um, once upon a time and was it in 2014 that you met the New York Avengers and became part of the group, or was it a little bit after that?
Actually, no. So my involvement with the group has sort of been more recent than that.
Mhm.
I got involved in 2019. Um, I had sort of met a bunch of people in the Avengers at that New York Avengers at that point, just through cosplay, and I got invited to see the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is fun. For me, it was really just about like, oh, I can go and see this with an amazing group of people. And I dressed up as Peggy Carter. That's what I came in doing, was Peggy Carter. But since then, I've done quite a few other characters, and it's been a wonderful ride so far. Yeah.
So, but yes, you were part of that Avengers Night at the Cradle. Would you like to talk a little bit about
Sure.
that?
I mean, every time we've gone to the Cradle of Aviation has just been so much fun. They're so welcoming to us, and I feel like there are like local people that come just for us, and that's really special. So we had a great time. They screened the movie. We were able to really interact with, like I said, it was really like the local community. And we got to bring to life the heroes that the children and adults were seeing on the screen. And to me, that's just very special. It's a special gift to be able to do that for people, and to sort of marry the creativity and the fun of cosplay with, actually doing good and making people feel good as well and feel special. So it was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
Yes, and just the group in general, it always seems like whenever they do shoots, whenever they're involved with the community, that the whole group comes together and it really is like a family. And I know that other members of the New York Avengers have mentioned that. Dom Charland had talked about how it was almost like a cast reunion,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely. I
and
feel like
it's. Mhm.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I just thought it was just really great to hear those kinds of things, especially in the cosplay community.
Yeah. With how everybody will be, will there be a lockdown? Will there not be? And especially that we've worked with sick children before, we would never want to put anybody at risk. So,
Mhm.
right now our involvement is cheering from afar for everybody, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to get back to good business.
Yes, we definitely hope that everything returns to normal soon. It's so great to see the group out there and working within the community, and just everything that you do and all of the work that goes into that, and just the creativity.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing.
Hmm.
Um, so a little bit more recently, there was an event. If we want to, I can call it an event. I will. Giving Tuesday was organized by another friend of the show, Mama Cosplayer, who I think actually you just recently called out in one of your stories. I'll be dating
Did.
myself by saying that, but
Yeah.
so she put part of it together, and it was edited by the Green Screen Manifesto, and the videos were
Mhm.
really, really cool. You can see, I think they're on IGTV and maybe in other spaces.
They
Uh,
aren't there. It is definitely on my IGTV, so go check it out.
yes, yes, absolutely. So we just got into a little bit about the challenges with not being able to really connect, other than in the virtual space right now because of everything that's going on with COVID. So how have you been challenged by that, and what have you done to kind of keep the fires burning, so to speak, with outreach and just with like online events?
I think that honestly, it's not even just about keeping it going with other people. It's even keeping it going within ourselves too. And I think having no convention, I know for me, it definitely affects my motivation to do cosplay in so many ways, because there's no deadline. There's no like, oh, I have this to look forward to, or we have this event to prepare for. So I know that at least for me, that's been very challenging in the past 8 months. But we've kept in touch with each other, obviously, on group chatting and stuff like that. And we've tried with those like Giving Tuesday videos, we've tried to, make people know like we're here, we're thinking of you. I think we've done a couple of like reading books to children over video. So we have been trying for sure, just to keep cheering everybody on until we can all get through this and see each other face to face again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, definitely. And that's just a really, really good. And yes, it's very hard for people to stay positive in
Yes.
these kinds of things, especially when it's with something you have a passion for, and it's a hobby that we all enjoy and really wanted to keep that going, and then it's all just kind of like shut down. Like,
Yes. Oh my
I felt
gosh.
like I felt like I barely got started with cosplaying into the community.
Mhm.
And fortunately, I picked a podcast, which is relatively easy to do remotely, but wanted to get into more with panels and more with being active at the cons. So
Yeah.
we sure hope they return soon.
Well, especially cosplay, at least to me, has always been tied to conventions, and obviously that's less so now. And as I have sort of grown in cosplay, it's become more about like, doing things with friends that involve cosplay, or doing a photo shoot cosplay. And the conventions are just like a really fun time. But there is this nostalgia of like, I miss going to panels, and I miss meeting new people at conventions, and just seeing friends that maybe I haven't seen in a while. Oh my gosh, like you look great, you too. And the whole atmosphere is just fun and infectious, and it is missed right now, but that just means that it's going to be even more epic when we get back, and it's going to be great.
Yes, the first con that comes back, there's just gonna be like a flood of
Oh,
people.
it's going to be
Everybody will be.
awesome.
You won't be able to move. It'll be so
Yep.
jammed. And
Yeah.
but moving into a subject of cosplay team ups, I think your favorite person to team up with might be Jake Cosplays. He was
Oh, you
actually
think? Of course.
strong suggestion that he would be. Love Jake, and I really do mean that, Jake, from the bottom of my heart. You are a great guy. If you're out there listening, I sure hope you do.
He's,
Jake
uh,
was.
he's not far from me right now. He's in the other room,
That's good. Hi, Jake.
actually.
But he was
So I'll let him know that you said hi.
he was a final guest for
No, how
season
funny,
1.
right? Mhm.
Yeah. So he knows I'm telling you the truth, obviously. That really just an amazing person, brilliant mindset with everything he does, the content he puts online,
Yes.
and his philosophy that cosplay is a hobby and a creative outlet. And
Mhm.
you have, of course, collaborated with him many times.
Yes.
Easy question for you. Do you have a favorite? And would you like to talk about how you complement each other's cosplays?
Absolutely. Gosh, choosing a favorite is hard. So I chose two. I chose one for comics and one for anime,
Mhm.
because why not? My favorite cosplay. Whoa, I can't even speak today. Cosplay that we've done together has been Doctor Strange and Clea.
Oh,
That was so much fun. I loved that. But then we've also done Tamari and Shikamaru from Naruto, and that was so much fun as well. And I think I'm so lucky, because in doing these team ups with Jake, I've learned so many different characters and different anime and different comics as well. And I'm just grateful for him that he's exposed me to that and always keeps me motivated and puts a smile on my face.
no,
Yeah.
that's wonderful to hear. And you always look like you enjoy the
Oh
photo
yeah.
shoots and everything that you're doing
Mhm.
together,
Yes.
which is really just it's great to see. It's great to see. And I actually just interviewed someone who had a cosplay wedding.
Oh wow.
Kia Sangria is her
That's
name, and
amazing.
she met her husband at a con, and they have that in common, and it's just a really great thing to see, that you can share that sort of that creative energy.
Yes. It's you know what, it's great to be able to do these cosplays with the person that you love,
Mhm.
with your partner, with you get to not only kiss them because your characters are a couple, but also because you actually love them, and that's just amazing. And I think I'm lucky in that Jake is he has he has tremendous drive, and that inspires me so much. So and like my skills, creative skills and whatnot, combined with like him putting the flame under my butt, so to speak, it's a great combination. And we've done a lot of wonderful things together, have a lot of awesome things planned, of course. I'm just very, very lucky, and we have a great time together. So
Yes, and we will be very excited to see the cosplays that you create
yeah,
together and individually. I know you put together just a diverse range of cosplays over the
yeah,
years, everything from Supergirl to Hermione Granger.
yeah,
Some are borrowed, some are new, some are old, some are blue, but really many completely built from scratch.
yes.
Now, do you have a process, or like how do you go through creating the cosplay, coming up with the ones that you want to do? Is there a wish list that you put together,
Oh,
down or in your head? And do
uh,
you ever find yourself going back to some of the older cosplays that you've done and like kind of having them evolve, or going, oh well, I can redo pieces of this and kind of get like a different version of it?
right. Well, I guess to start with, my process always starts with a sketch. Every time I'm going to create something, and even when I'm creating only part of something, I am always sketching something out, drawing it out, and I'm constantly making notes next to it, like, oh, need wig, or can reuse wig for this, or okay, buy this from Amazon, or get this from costume store. Okay, I have this already, so I don't need to get it. And that probably just comes from my design background, that I'm just always trying to write that kind of stuff down, always doing little sketches. And then from there, I like to think I'm a pretty good shopper. So whatever um, I can get shopping wise, I get, and if I have to make something, then I make it. So I like to think I'm good combination of like budgeting both my money and my time, because sometimes it's just not worth the time when you could buy it for $10. Unfortunately, that's just how it is sometimes. I love all that. As far as a wish list, oh boy. Well, that is lengthy. I have one on Amazon. I do have an Amazon wish list. But also, I love like it's not only cosplay items like to do with a certain cosplay, but a lot of it is like different materials. Like I would love an incredible Dremel. I would love amazing foam cutting tools. So I try to think about things that are not only for one project, but that I can use for multiple things. So yeah.
Yes, you have to be savvy as a cosplayer. Things get repurposed. You have to kind of think outside the box here and there to get
Mhm.
some things done, cost effectively. Because yes, it does run up quite a bill. You've got the base suit, all of the pieces, and you've got the makeup, hair, wig,
Right.
and the list
Exactly.
keeps growing. Oh, and then I could get these cool props that can go with it too, and those are several $100s a piece, and I want them to
And
light
it's
up.
2 weeks before the convention, and I have a whole cosplay to make. Oh, so it's all together. And then in terms of going back to older cosplays and like redoing or updating them, I definitely have some that I want to update now that I have more skill and a little bit better understanding of how all of this works. I think that I would definitely make some improvements. Especially, I have Faye Valentine, one of my
Mhm.
OG cosplays. I love cosplaying her. Would love to make some improvements to her. Um, and gosh, and expand upon some of my cosplays that I've done before. I did Lucina from Fire Emblem at Colossal Con East last year, and I loved doing that. But I want to like actually build out her armor. It's something I've been saying for years at this point, and everybody is like, Rebecca, just make it at this point. I'm like, okay. So hopefully that'll happen soon. Um, but definitely, she's definitely somebody who I've really liked for a long time and who I really want to expand my cosplay episode. Yeah.
Definitely. And I would encourage anyone listening, if there's a cosplay that you're putting off for any reason, I mean, financial is one thing, but if you're just kind of like you keep pushing it back and pushing it back, just go for it. Just try it out. Like you
Yes.
you want to do it, and you're gonna feel good when it's done. And I know that from experience. I have probably waited far too long to get going on my Dr. Fate cosplay,
Oh,
and
great.
finally got the base suit working on the helmet. I'm probably gonna build a couple of helmets because I'm terrible with foam right now. So it's
Practice,
gonna,
practice, practice.
yes, it's a learning curve. Mistakes happen, but it can be it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. The process
Definitely.
is probably the most fun for me. And like then getting to wear it, having known that whole process is like, yeah, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. Like, it's a great sense of accomplishment. So I say go for it for sure.
And that's the thing that gets me the most is when I see those that you have created. I mean, it's just like, wow, like you made that. Like, and it's just all the weathering and the details and just how everything ties together. It's such a great, it's just such a great expression, but also just I have a lot of appreciation for all of those things that you do, Rebs, with
You so
it's
nice.
just so much skill as an artist and as a creator. And you also have an amazing website, which I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about, if you don't
Thank you.
mind.
Sure, of course.
Very, very cool website. We'll make sure to have links to it in the show notes so that everybody can check it out and see what Rebecca has been up to. But it showcases many of your talents as an artist and a designer and a storyteller. I do really enjoy the term storyteller, especially in this context, as sort of the way that you use it to describe how you use the visual creations to tell a story.
Yes.
You also have patterns and tips and tutorials there for people to take a
Yeah.
look at. Would you like to talk about visual storytelling and where cosplay fits into your work as a storyteller and artist?
Coming from the art and the theater, that was always like the idea of visual storytelling, telling a story using what you see with your eyes, strictly what you see with your eyes in many respects, is fun. And it's a challenge that you have to convey the story with only visual cues. And it is fun, but like I said, fun, but challenging. But I enjoy figuring out the problem. That's part of the fun of it for me. And I think cosplay is an outlet for me as an artist, as an actor, as a designer. As somebody who also likes to help people. If people come to me and they want a tip, I'm always happy to try to help. Or, oh, I know a little bit about painting this. Okay, yeah, let me give you some tips. Or, oh, styling a wig. Absolutely. Let me give you some tips about that. And if I can't help them, then I try to direct them somewhere where, the help is better than me. But um, I think that cosplay has encouraged my creativity in a lot of ways when it comes to my work as an artist and as a designer. So um, and it's actually been great. I had taken some classes in digital imaging and graphic design, and I was able to, and I had just sort of been getting into cosplay at that point, so I was able to sort of take like some of the photographs of me in cosplay and be like, oh well, let me learn how to edit using these, and it's so I feel like I've sort of grown them together in a way, and
Mhm.
that's been very special. Yeah.
Yes, and there's definitely you could tell that it's really just something that you enjoy in the
Yes.
pieces that you create. It's very clear that it is, the thing that you wanted to do. I guess it's kind of saying the same thing, but really just wanted to emphasize that it really does make a difference if you spend too much time doing things that make you miserable, it will come out. If, for example, money is your only motivation, that will definitely start to show through, especially if you are sharing a lot of things inside of a space like cosplay. if you're just doing it for the likes and you're just doing it for the follows, it's eventually going to catch up with you. So it's just a word of the wise. Make sure that what you're doing is really, coming from a good place, and it's just clearly it's very clear with you, Rebs, that it does, definitely
Thank you.
does. It comes from a great place, and it is great content.
I always try to say I try to be the same IRL as I am online, and I think that Jake has been a wonderful champion of that as well. If you're going to be nice online, be nice in person. Just life's too short to not be nice and to not be, real with people and stuff like that, and just be kind. I guess that's what it boils down to. So, yeah.
Yes, and just kind of as another note, again, just kind of following up with your website and the things that you do there, that that you do understand the Photoshop and the digital art world, of course, that kind of goes hand in hand with cosplay. It's a big part of cosplay is editing and photography, and it's pretty much flooded on social media, especially now that cons aren't really here. So any opportunity that folks have to do photo shoots, even if it's in their own spaces, in their own apartments, in their own homes, that there's a lot of Photoshop and digital art kind of hitting the interwebs. Do you feel that graphic design and cosplay are somewhat inseparable? And just even more than that, do you find that we forget the work that digital artists put into the edits that we so often see displayed in spaces like Instagram, Vero, Facebook? Probably not LinkedIn, but I'll leave that in there just because
Never
it is.
know. It's always possible. Um, Inseparable. I think that it's sort of hard for me to say. I guess because coming from both, they have always been like this for me. Maybe for somebody else it might be different, but I think for me they have been very complementary to each other. They enhance each other, and like I said before, they both of them amp up the creativity for the other. I think I'm a better graphic designer because I'm a cosplayer, and I think I'm a better cosplayer because I have the design background as well. So I think that for me, they're inseparable in many ways. Maybe not for other people, but for me, absolutely. And as far as forgetting the work and taking for granted the work that a lot of digital artists do, I think that absolutely that happens. I'm actually taking a class in photography right now, so
Oh,
I'm
good for you.
I'm yeah, it's so much fun. I'm loving it. I'm learning a lot, but I'm also realizing just, the difficulty that it is. It's hard to capture the right shot. Hard to balance your light and your settings, your exposure the right way, and to really get it good in the camera, and then to have to go and edit it after that. And especially, we like all the crazy special effects and different, magical powers, and oh, put me levitating off a building, what craziness. And it's funny because I started with Photoshop before photography. Actually, on my website I have some edits, including a couple of Jake, which have been really fun. And but now that I have the photography experience too, I think that my approach to editing and appreciation of editing is wholly different, and even more just respect for fellow digital artists and incredible photographers that I've gotten to work with, in this community for sure.
And I'll apologize for this next statement, but I always feel like a bit of a hack myself when I do my own edits,
Yeah, I feel that
because
too.
there are so many talented folks out there, and it's certainly something, having had yourself as a very talented artist and others on the show, to remind everyone that it's always great to make sure that you do give that credit to the person that is helping you with that edit or has done the photography for you, because they're making the magic happen, and they're certainly, well, they're contributing quite a bit,
Right.
at least in my opinion.
Well, they're capturing what you've worked so hard to make, or what you've worked so hard to put together, and just that you're wearing it. They're they're taking that picture for you. That's your evidence of like, I did this. This is amazing. And not just a memory up here, but an actual visual thing that says, I did this, I was here, uh, I I completed this task. So I think photography is very important for sure. It's essential, so to speak.
Yes, well, and definitely my applause to you for continuing to learn. Something that I emphasize the importance of on the show is cosplay is such a great place for you to always be trying something out, experimenting, and getting a lot of hands-on. And it's a space where you really can't be afraid to learn and to fail. Like you're probably going to make mistakes, and
Oh
people
yeah.
sometimes see that as a failure, but it's also a really good learning tool. And it's just very encouraging to see someone like yourself being encouraged and um, being of the mind that you do want to continue to learn and explore different things, and just use your current creative talents and build on them. I just
Yeah.
think that's great.
Thank you. I think that learning to trust the process is it's difficult, but it's necessary when it
Mhm.
comes to cosplay. Nobody is perfect overnight. And that's something that I struggle with is, this idea of being a perfectionist and trying to get it right the first time. But I know that I will keep getting better the more I practice. And I just have to trust that future Rebecca will be able to do it better than past Rebecca, and present Rebecca will just be somewhere in between, doing the best I can. And ultimately at the end of the day, we're here to have fun. Costume play. We're here to have a good time. And, if you're not enjoying something, set it aside, come back to it later. If you're still not liking it, set it aside. No reason that you have to destroy yourself just for something that should be fun, but have fun at the same time. Have a good time.
That's right. If you want to destroy yourself, learn French arias.
Yeah,
That's
I've done that a couple times. Yeah.
no, I did have just one question that's a little bit off book for you, and it is about your background in music and in
Sure.
performance as a singer.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite genre, or do you have a favorite piece that you performed, either contemporary or classical?
Yeah. That's hard to say. I've done everything from musical theater to opera to church music, choral music, classical music, whatever there's a genre, I've probably done something from it. As far as songs that I love to sing, or like favorite songs that I've done, I sing the Ave Maria all the time, all the time. But I think that I still find something that I love about it, despite doing it so frequently. But gosh, um, it's very special. My dad is actually a pianist and a keyboard player. He teaches piano as well. He's an incredible musician, and so we have sort of grown in music. Like he's been very encouraging of my ability, and he's played so often for me for singing and everything like that. And we always sing songs from Phantom of the Opera together. Him playing on the piano and me singing, and that just holds a very special memory for me, for sure. And I really miss being in a choir. That's one of the things I miss most of considering how COVID is right now. But I love being in a choir. I've been in choir since I'm a little kid, and um, I can't wait to get back to performing and being able to share that with people um, musically. It's very special to me. So,
Yes, I think that connection with community is very important. Having been in a few choirs myself over time, that it's definitely a commitment for sure.
yes.
It's almost like cosplay because you
Yeah.
have to be very dedicated. I've gone as far as practicing for the next concert in the middle of the concert that I was performing, which to me was a little bit crazy, but we went
Yeah.
there.
We've we've
But
done
yes,
we've all done some crazy things during performances. I fell asleep once because I was in I was in an opera. I was in Street Scene written by Langston Hughes and Kurt Weill. Quite the
well,
combination. And I was in the beginning of Act One, and then after that, I was not on stage for like an hour and a half and then back on stage for a little bit. And that was it because I was in the chorus. So I just would take a nap sometimes and it's okay. Theater, you have no idea. Just wake up, okay, go back to stage and performances, man, right? It's just crazy.
Yes, it does get a little like it's just a different atmosphere
Yeah.
for sure. And but it's a lot of fun. I mean, once you get into it, it can be nerve-wracking, but there are certain scenes, there are certain pieces that you just
Yes.
you get a hold of it and you just want to kind of do it.
I performed I was in another choral thing, Daphne and Chloe by Foray, I believe. No. No, Ravel. I think it's Ravel.
I
Either
think
way.
it's Ravel.
I think it's Ravel. Um and I remember being on stage while the orchestra is playing the first part of the song and I'm just like slack jawed and we forgot to come in. That's how much we were enjoying it. Thankfully it was only in practice, but performance has such a way of just casting a spell over everybody who listens. And I think that that's important to remember when we're cosplaying as well, because we can cast a spell and for a little while take people out of reality, suspend reality for people, really make them feel like you are meeting Squirrel Girl, you are meeting Doctor Strange, you are meeting, um, Naruto, you're meeting Sakura. You're meeting these characters, and that's really you are really them. And like Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. So just always remember that in cosplay too.
But as we wrap up the show, and thank you again so much for being here and taking the time
It's been a
today,
pleasure.
Becca.
Yeah.
I have one question that I like to ask my guests towards the end of the show, and it is this: what do you feel cosplay impacts within yourself?
Okay. Loaded question, right?
Mhm.
I think for me, cosplay allows me to express my inner self more truthfully than I could in plain clothes with no wig and no contacts and no crazy makeup, no big prop. And I think that it also allows me to um, tap into all the facets of my self creatively, and it is a tremendous motivator for me. And it is also sometimes a source of bittersweetness and sometimes of frustration. But if something but that just makes it even more meaningful for me, because sometimes when you really love something, sometimes you don't always like it but you always love it. And i'm I just feel like it's allowed me to meet incredible people like my boyfriend and like my friends. And I honestly don't know where I would be without cosplay. I can't say that I would be any happier. It makes me feel happy, and to be able to do it with people that I love is just even more special. So it touches every facet of every day. I wake up, I think about it. I go to sleep, I think about it. Always, always on my mind in some way.
And in a good way, not
Yes.
where it doesn't necessarily make us anxious or anything like that, but that it's a good feeling. You wake up and it's something that you feel good to have with you,
Yeah.
something that you're like, I'm gonna get to that, and that's gonna be a lot of fun, and it gets you excited, which
As the
is
shirt says, always making things.
always making things.
It's true. It's very true. So, and that applies, that's with cosplay and always thinking about that.
Yes, it's the ABCs. Always be creating is
Mm-hmm.
how I've heard it.
Yes.
Well,
Or
that's
or if it's business, always be closing, I think was the term from
Glenn Ross.
Glenn Ross, right? Yeah.
Yes, coffee is for closers.
Yeah.
And cosplayers getting coffee has there's some tie in there.
Right.
I know there is. So where can we find you, and how can we support you online?
Okay. So Instagram, obviously, Rebs de la Disco, perfect place to find me. Keep up with my adventures there. I have a Ko-fi, whatever you want to call it, coffee. And I have an Amazon wish list as well. That can all be found at the link in my Instagram bio. I was thinking about maybe doing a like prop building, kind of like a Patreon or like a something where, kind of creatively with something like that. But maybe in the new year, we'll see. And I'm starting my art account soon, which is Rebecca Artistry. But the last A of Rebecca is the first A of Artistry. So it's REBECCARTISTRY. Rebecca Artistry. It's complicated, but it's there.
We'll have a graphic.
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
will be able to see it spelled out.
Thank you. And I'm hoping to post some of my photography work on there, as well as just some of the cosplay work that I've done, in terms of building props and even just visual arts as well. So keep an eye out. And my website, arbitondoart.wordpress.com, or again at the link in my bio. Yeah, fun stuff.
Yes. And as we get closer to Christmas, please be sure to keep Rebecca in your hearts and in your minds.
Thank you.
And clicking on her Amazon wish list.
Singing many masses. So yes, lots of mass. And of course, it's a great time to get Christmas presents too. And my birthday is pretty soon after Christmas as well, January 18th. So, it's coming up. If you don't want to do it for Christmas, it's always the birthday.
So, yes, and you should give more, because people who have birthdays close to Christmas always lose out. It's never as good. I'm lucky. Mine are about as far away from each other as they can be. I've got June 27th and December 25th, so it's always worked out perfectly for me.
You are very lucky. Yep.
It's like maximum output from both. But yes, if we can encourage and help and support Rebecca in any way that we can, we certainly, I would sure hope that everybody does.
Thank you. I appreciate it very, very much. Makes me feel very grateful.
And thank you again so much for being on the show and taking the time, as I said. And that is really where we will leave it today, everyone.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. It's just wonderful to share the time and your stories, all the things that you're working on and will work on in the future. So yes, very much looking forward to it.
Yes.
Friends, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary podcast. This is Scotty B saying bye-bye.